Hi all. Hope you all can hear me at the back. Yeah. Today I'll be talking about building secure React apps with Choreo internal developer platform. Now, on our agenda today, so we will first see at a high level what is Choreo, and then we will see some of the security challenges that we face in single-page applications, and then we'll see how Choreo's managed authentication feature can help you to build authentication into your React single-page applications easily, and we'll finally see a live demo on how you can do this. So now to start with, when it comes to taking your React applications to production, there's a whole lot of complexities that we need to think about beyond our code itself. So for an example, how are we going to scale our application in the production environment? Then the CI/CD pipeline, security, monitoring and observability, insights, and so on. So what we normally do is, now we have different tools and platforms which provide services in these areas. So if I want to have a CI/CD pipeline for my application, so I'll evaluate few different tools and choose the best tool that suits my use case. So similarly, if I want to enable monitoring and observability, I'll do the same, and it goes on like that. But wouldn't it be much easier if you have all these things that you need to take your application to production under one platform? So that is where Choreo comes in. Choreo is an internal developer platform that simplifies the deployment, monitoring, and management of your cloud-native applications, allowing you to focus on what is more important, which is coding and innovating. With Choreo, you can simplify tedious and time-consuming workflows and get your applications to production faster. So the diagram that I have over here pretty much gives the high-level idea what Choreo does. So we as developers can write our application in whatever the language that we prefer, using our familiar IDEs and tools, and then push our source code to the repository and plug it into Choreo. So Choreo will take it from there. With Choreo, you can build, deploy, test, manage, and observe your application. So that's right. That's the whole software development lifecycle under one platform. So now that you have an idea at a high level what is Choreo, let me take you to Choreo console to explore a bit around to see what it is like. Now, so I'm currently in Choreo console. I'm in my hotel reservation project. So what is a project in Choreo? So a project is basically a grouping of one or more components. And I have 2 components already created under my project, so which I will be using for the demo in the latter part of this talk. So I have 2 applications here. One is my hotel reservation service, which is a backend application written using Node.js, and then I have my hotel reservation front-end application in React. So let me just show you how easily you can plug in your code and create a component in Choreo. So I'll click on the create button over here. So I have a bunch of component types here, which don't need to worry at this moment. So we'll just talk about services and web applications, since that is what we use the most. So services are mainly, the microservices such as, REST APIs, GraphQL APIs, gRPC, and so on. And then we have the web applications, so basically our React applications, static applications, and so on. So I'll click on web application. And then I have a bunch of fields to fill here, so I can give my component a name. So I'll just quickly give a name, and then, so I have 2 options here. So I said earlier that you can connect your code to Choreo. So if you already have a source code in hand, you can connect your repository to Choreo, or else if you just want to try things out, you can go ahead with our samples repository. So for this demo, I'll just try it with the samples repository. And then we can choose the build path. So since I'm going to create a React application, I'll choose my React build pack. Now, having a build pack takes a burden out of our heads as developers. Because, we don't have to worry about how we're going to build our application or how we are going to create the image from our source code. So that will be handled by the build pack. And then I'll choose my project directory. So the samples repo that we have is actually a monorepository with many projects. So I'll search for my hotel reservation front-end project and click on continue. And then I can give my build command and the build path, and then give the node version. So, and then simply create. So this will create a application for you. But I won't create it now because I already have my application created. So let me go back to my project overview and back to our slides. So yeah, so from the different features that Choreo offers, I'll be talking a bit about one of the features that makes it easier for you to implement authentication in your single-page applications. So React single-page applications are a common use case, but there are certain challenges that we face when building single-page applications. And security is one such main challenge. And this is mainly because, in single-page applications, we have the source code fully running on browser side. So when it comes to handling authentication and working with tokens, it becomes pretty much difficult because our code is vulnerable to attacks such as XSS and CSRF attacks. And nowadays we use protocols like O2 and OpenID Connect widely to implement these additional security measures to our single-page applications. And how we normally do is, the React ecosystem supports different SDKs and libraries that we can use to simplify our implementation. Like, we don't have to implement it all by manually. But Choreo has a perfect solution which makes it much easier for us as developers. So with Choreo's managed authentication feature, it provides a secure backend for your single-page applications to handle access tokens. Now, this is more like a token handling proxy sitting in between your front-end application and the back-end application, so which is one of the recommended solutions for these security challenges in single-page applications, and it is really easy to integrate with your React applications. So let's see a demo on how you can do this. So I'm back in Choreo console. So I already have this. This is my backend application. So I'll go to the deploy page. So as you can see, I already have my application deployed and running in both my development and production environments. So I'll switch to my front-end application. So now here in my front-end application, which is my React application, I have two branches in my repository. One has the incomplete code without the authentication logic implemented, and then I have the completed code in the other branch. So I'll just show you first how my incomplete code without the authentication works. So over here, I'll quickly go to the build page. So I have triggered a build from one of my commits. So I just have one commit in this branch. So I have triggered a build out of that, which will create a Docker image, which I have already deployed. So I'll click on the web app URL over here. And let's see. OK, so it loaded. And let's try. So when I click on the search button, ideally it should try to communicate with my backend application that I had and list the set of rooms that are available. So as expected, it doesn't work. It returns a 401 because I have not handled authentication or I haven't passed any access tokens when invoking my backend. So now I'll switch. Actually, I'll switch the deployment track. So what is a deployment track? So in Choreo, we can create deployment tracks out of the branches that we have in our repository. So in my completed app branch, I have the working application. So before showing you how it works, now let me show you what are the code changes that I have done in order to implement the authentication logic. So I have the code changes over here in this PR, so it looks like a bit of a big PR. But let me quickly go to the slides and explain you what are these codes. So obviously, when implementing authentication, you need to have a login button. And then, so I have changed my getting started button to sign in. And I am redirecting the users to /login. So with this, Choreo will redirect the users to the configured identity provider and handle the authentication there. And then we need to manage the post sign-in functionality. So though I have a big code chunk here, what is actually important is these two lines, because with Choreo managed authentication, it establishes a cookie, a user info cookie, which have all the encoded user information, which you can use. And how you use this information is up to you as the developer. And then we have the logout functionality. So where when I click on the logout button, it will remove the user info session from the session storage and then redirect the users to auth logout URL. So now let me quickly so we are in our completed application branch. So I'll click on this authentication settings. Now I'm going to enable authentication with this toggle. Now here, by default, Choreo will configure Choreo built-in IDP for your applications, but you always have the flexibility to add any external IDPs from the settings page. And you can configure the post login and logout path. So in my application, it's the root path. And then I'll create a test user because we need to try out the login. So this is just a test user. You can always connect your users using a user store file. So I'll copy this password and click on deploy and wait for our application to get deployed. So it's in progress. So let's wait a few seconds until it becomes active and try out our application again. So yeah, my application is loaded. I have the sign-in button here. So I got the login. I'll give the username and copy the password. So yeah, I'm in my page. So let me check whether search works now. Yeah, so it does. So that's how easily you can implement authentication into your single-page applications with just a few code lines and some button clicks. So as you saw in this talk, you can implement authentication easily into your React single-page applications with Choreo, and you don't have to worry about handling tokens in your application code or passing the token implicitly to your backends. So Choreo offers you a lot of features that elevate your development experience. So I encourage you all to try out Choreo and experience how it can elevate your React development experience. So if you have any questions or would like to know about Choreo, head out to our booth. And thank you for listening.